I had to learn a lot about how to understand fear. I thought that fear was something you can unlearn, like literally often you can just get rid of it, and you realize no. Basically, part of the what I call the vehicle, part of the body, is that we've been hardwired by nature, by our evolution to look out for things that could potentially eat us,
Yeah.
potentially can kill us.
I also noticed while going through the book, the sample you've sent, that there's a lot of talk about fear, which kind of makes sense. It's in a way the opposite of daring, and I would say daring, at least for me, it would be not really conquering the fears, but understanding that you have the fear and doing the thing anyway. What is it the same for you or similar, or how does fear, impact you as a person?
I had to learn a lot about how to understand fear. I thought that fear was something you can unlearn, like literally often you can just get rid of it, and you realize no. Basically, part of the what I call the vehicle, part of the body, is that we've been hardwired by nature, by our evolution to look out for things that could potentially eat us,
Yeah.
potentially can kill us. And we worry about a signal. So the fear is obviously the mechanism that scans your surroundings, make sure that you survive. We've been built as humans for pursuit. We've been built, to survive. Whereas we are now in the era of pleasure. We are
Yeah.
pursuing pleasure. Obviously, we're looking at sort of quick rewards. Things become so much easier in any single way. Like, especially with creative AI, you can do whatever. Like, you don't have to apply yourself. You don't have to spend too much time by pushing the dopamine. You're looking for the opioid center to give you serotonin, kind of like obviously reward chemicals to say you've done really well.
Yeah.
But it only comes after the pursuit. We need to actually spend some time, and actually, it needs to be difficult because the bodies haven't changed too much, whereas the society and obviously development has changed so much. So it's like, how do you then align the one with the two? And when it comes to the fear, obviously, like when you think of people like, shall I share my body of work with thousand strangers, is the same as worrying about saber-tooth tiger rustling the leaves. Like this, it's still the same mechanism. It's the
Yeah.
same biological, systems that make us feel something. So again, it could be, the projection of who you are, where you want to be, as the projection of validations. Have you worked on yourself? Like fear is so complicated, and it's only exercised and lessened by accepting that when you feel that you're in a fearful situation, and when you realize that it doesn't come to anything, then that allows you to actually realize that fear is only a sensation. It's an emotion that absolutely can be exercised. So there is a lot of work. And again, that's why therapy works, that's why exercises work, like that's why acceptance works, because fear can surprise you, it can paralyze you and stop you from doing things. Like you can be fearing a risk, which is the spur of the moment risk, rather than something which people do, which looks risky, which they spend 5 years preparing themselves for.
Yeah.
So it's more about, understanding how it all works, because, we talk about curiosity sometimes, let's say a much nicer thing than fear, but curiosity again is human. It's basically, it's a physical feeling like hunger. But we say like, oh, I'm not curious enough. I'm not this, and that. Some people are not as fearful, and that's fine. And then they might say, I'm not as curious, but someone might be just, more fearful and more curious. Like it's basically it's the DNA mix that
Yeah.
we've been given. And even like our ways of understanding dopamine or motivation is different because people got different sized receptors. So, when you think about happiness, that's 50% genetics and only 10% circumstantial. But do we measure everyone the same? Of course we are. Are you as happy as me? Of course I'm not. Like, why not? Because
Yeah.
I'm a different person. But not everyone should be the same happy. Like, I'm having the same experience. But it's the perception of the life, like how you see it, to realize I might not be the right person for this moment. I might not be the right person to enjoy this. Where someone else is enjoying something else, I will enjoy something different later. But you get society, as I said at the beginning, like you've got a meaning of a word, subjective to a person, to a society, and to dictionary. And that goes to experience of our situation. So like, am I as creative as somebody else? Well, turns out that the people who call themselves non-creative, who can't even draw, will make the most interesting like protest placards, which I would never think of making. I'm exercising my little thing here, and they're exercising their anger. And it's just like it just pushes things people in a different directions. But again, it's about accepting that when you're in that moment of what you do, you might be fearful about not being good. It might be just because you haven't slept well. You haven't put the life inputs in place. So it's about understanding that when you're in the moment, is the saber-tooth tiger coming? Because
Yeah.
most of the time it's not. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. It reminds me of a book by The Icarus Trap by Seth Godin, and
Okay.
he's talking about that biological thing and comparing all the things like they were when we were still living in caves. So it's absolutely understandable, and I completely agree with that part.